Great, guys. How's everyone doing today? I'm Craig Cecilio, CEO of DiversyFund. If you haven't noticed, since I've last been on Facebook Live, I kind of got a little growth going right here. So I'm home. Figured to try something different. I think this is like the longest my beard's gone since I've been in my 20s, in my 40s today. So today I kind of want to talk about kind of a general theme of what's going on and behind the scenes, what is going on today. Everyone's kind of freaking out. We've got COVID economy. I just call it a new world. I'm accepting the fact that things are going to be different. And how am I going to thrive? How are you going to survive and thrive in this new world order? And the way I look at it is there's a lot of people behind the scenes kind of getting ready to do a lot of things. And what I'm talking about is what are the 1% doing? What are the wealthy doing? Well, the people I'm talking to is they're going in saying, hey, this is going to be a buy-in season. I'm going to go in and buy assets. I am going to go buy as much as I can at discounts. People are already approaching things as, hey, do you want to sell your company? And they're going giving you low numbers. There's a lot of deals kind of going around behind the scenes right now. And hey, you know what? There is something going on, and this is what the wealthy do. They wait till things are going and people are desperate, and people really are kind of motivated on emotion, right? Where everything's going to happen, the world's going to end, I got to liquidate all my assets, and people are like, okay, here's cash, I can do it, but I'm going to give you 30% of the value or 50% of the value. And that's what usually happens. What also happens is we have the kind of greatest divisions of wealth happening. You have the wealthy going in and buying from everybody else at these giant discounts, so they kind of 3, 4, 5, 6, even 10 times their money during these downturns, and everybody else loses all this money and loses the value of all their assets. So, you know, what we got going here is, I think, a great opportunity to get people involved. And the one thing I always like to call it is the American dream at the end of the day is what? It's all about, call it, I am not an artist, and I do not claim to be an artist. I'm close. My daughter's not an artist, but she's a little shy to have her in here. It's the wealth ladder. The American dream is, hey, I could come to this country, and I could go from here, and I could go up here. And that's the whole thing. But what happens right now in these economies, when we get these recessions, is people, get another caller here, we'll get red, is people who are here go down to here. And people who are here go down to here. People who are down here, they really struggle. And this is what happens. But a lot of people who are up here, we use a better color. Let's use green. And again, non-artists, they go up here. They really gain a lot more wealth during these down periods. And you ask, well, how do they do it? Well, first of all, when you have to go in and buy kind of distressed assets or discounted assets, is you have to have what? You have to have money. And another word for money is liquidity. So wealthy people already have money, right? What do people over here have? The average person, the everyday person, wherever you're on the scale, you know, you don't have as much money. You're not that. And also what they have is they have kind of a thing called liquidity. So they see these events come up. They're able to get the banks. If you have not noticed, the banks are giving people loans. The LA Lakers got a loan the other day. What, $5.6 million to LA Lakers? But the small business owners, you can't get it. So it's kind of geared up right now, but they're giving money to these wealthy people that are going to make them even more money. And, you know, the small business owner and all everyday people, we're not getting anything. We're not getting anything at all. We're not getting any help. They're trying to say they're getting help, but I don't know. I haven't talked to anyone who's gotten a check quite yet as a small business owner. They're trying. So generally what happens is, so now you got us here. I got our platform, DiversyFund. So what we do is we do this on a scale. We let anyone over here through our platform be able to participate. So we have these low minimums. I'll write the dollar size. It could be 500, 5,000. It could be 10,000. All the way, whatever, etc. Here. So now we kind of have a mechanism here, and you go, hey Craig, that's not a lot of money, $500, $5,000, $10,000. How are we supposed to compete with this person over here, this wealthy guy? How are we supposed to compete with them? They have, look, they probably have, here's a pretty big number. They're dealing with, what's this? Plus. Those are 2 commas right there. 2 commas, that's $100 million plus. It's probably more. At least there's billions of of dollars out there that's on the sidelines ready to go right now to buy distressed assets or to go someone who needs to be liquid or someone who needs help with their business. Hey, if you're small business owners, people out there give you money, but they might take 50% of your business to do it because they're looking for bargains and deals. So how do you compete with this person? Well, you can't. It's not a possibility to compete with them. But what we did here is we created this platform with DiversyFund years ago. And this is actually out of the last recession. I didn't think this recession was going to happen this quickly. This is more of a pandemic-induced thing, very emotional-induced recession. Is that we were able to do it is we pooled this money together. So we have thousands of investors come together through our technology, and it allows us to compete with them. We pool to purchase those same assets to give you that same chance to build wealth, to build generational wealth. And so if you have $500 and you just want to start out and see how that is, that's great. You could do it. It does not, there's no one on the phone. It's all tech enabled. So you're just talking to the platform, the website itself. You could start here, but you're probably not going to move the needle as much as you did with $10,000 because, you know, at the end of the day, you want to build wealth for yourself. You want to retire on this money, or you want to pass it on to your grandkids or the next generation. So you probably want to start with a little bit more. If you only have $500, that's great because we do have an auto deposit feature, which you can take $500 out of your checking account each month, and that comes in handy where you can build it up. But generally speaking, you want to get started and start kind of acting like these wealthy people, because these points in time of history is when it really happens. This is when the kind of the returns go through the roof. You get those gigantic returns. And 2 years from now, when things go back to normal, you miss out those opportunities. So it's a great chance to get started on this. I think everyone, if you haven't done this, is hey, look at your day-to-day, look at what you can do. We have a vehicle for you to get started, and it's something that's really, really, I think, it's been around since the beginning of time. For at least the last 100 years, this is when the wealth is produced in this country. This is when the wealthy, they're sitting on the sidelines right now. They're ready to go. They're doing this, so why can't you do this? We've developed a tool for you to do this through DiversyFund to compete with these institutions, these large family offices, these generational wealth, and we can teach you how to build generational wealth as well. You know, a lot of times we get questions from people, and they say, hey, if I stick my money into this, when do I get it out? Well, there's a reason these guys over here are wealthy. They don't take that money out. They let it build year over year, decade over decade, and even generation over generation. If you really want to build generational wealth, you're going to let it compound. And by that compounding, your money grows. And it's like, I think my daughter said it. My daughter said, hey, what is compounding interest, Dad? Is that like money making money babies? I'm like, that's a good analogy. I haven't heard that before. But yeah, the money's making interest. It gets reinvested. It makes more and more and more over time, and it compounds. And you keep reinvesting it year over year, decade over decade, even generation over generation. And that's when you go from a person or a family that starts out with $10,000 to someone who could have $1 million to someone with $100 million. Eventually, even if you keep going generation, you put a lot of money in, it's a possibility to get to $1 billion down the road. But so that's how you really do it. It's not a vehicle for you that, hey, I have to pay a bill in 5 years. If I'm doing this, I need the cash flow for this purpose to pay off a credit card. You know, that's why we have different types of entry levels. You could come in at any kind of size you want. You really have to understand this is it's like a savings account on steroids, I'd say, at the end of the day. And it's got to be part of your portfolio, not the entire portfolio. But once you start gradually building that up, you'll get some larger numbers to really make a difference in building wealth for yourself. I also have a question from someone who's asking me about, okay, you guys really take these dollars and invest in multifamily real estate. Well, multifamily is an asset that we're in, and one of the questions we get is, what about what's going on in the news and people getting this kind of rent reduction, abatement, different words, different things. Really got to read the lingo here because some of this is not really a rent abatement. People do have to pay rent, sometimes taxed on to the end of the lease, sometimes it's amortized. Each kind of state's different in their guidelines, got to really read the fine print there. But at the end of the day, we are buyers. So those people who own those complexes, and if they're dropping the rents and those people aren't paying, they might be in a distressed situation where they're going to want to sell it. And that's where we're going to step in and buy those. And they'll be undervalued properties. And at the end of the day, those rents will go back to normal probably within the next 12 months. So we're really buying distressed assets. Don't worry so much about, hey, the rents that we're getting into, we're going to buy things at a discount. When you buy them on 70 cents on a dollar or 50 cents on a dollar, that's really where and when you build wealth, and that's what's happening over the next 12 to 18 months. Another thing is we always get is questions over, I think I got someone from, I think it's, Steve here? He's asking me how much of his portfolio should put in this. And those are great questions. We aren't financial advisors. Always recommend talking to your financial advisor. One of the things we do, we're governed by some of the rules of the SEC. It says no more than 10% of your net worth into any particular investment. That's pretty simple. If you have $5,000, that's $500. If you're worth $100,000, that's $10,000. So there's a certain guideline for that. And at the same time, you got to kind of look at your overall day-to-day. This is something that you want to build wealth, not touch it. So you want to make sure you have enough money in your checking account to pay bills. If you want something highly liquid, that's a little bit more speculative. That's the stock market. This is kind of where we're different. This is more something you're going to package away to build long-term wealth on. Kind of like similar to people's IRAs, 401ks that are kind of contributing to that early in life, so later on they have that in retirement. A lot of people that do that as well is so they can pass on the money that you've earned onto your kids and grandkids and have that generational wealth. One of the things is we get people say, hey, how safe is that? Safe, what kind of word is safe? So at the end of the day, safety, what does that mean? We're walking across the street, I'm in danger of getting hit by a car or something, so that, I'm not really safe every time I cross the street. When you're investing, there is risk involved with stuff. Our assets, we own those assets. We're not a marketplace. It's not something that someone else can do, but the risk is very minimalized. We have I would say, the least volatile investment of all the alternative investment classes. There is minimal risk, there always is. That's why we diversify across a portfolio of assets. At least there are 200 units on up to 1,000 units, so you don't really have that tenant mix to it. Again, we're buying distressed assets. So if you're looking for extreme safety, again, it's got to be part of your portfolio, not your entire portfolio. Look at the big picture. You want to have some stuff that's liquid for yourself. At the same time, you want some stuff that can grow wealth for it. In our world, we have I would say, a very risk-adjusted investment, which be the most, I won't say most safe, but pretty safe compared to other alternative investments out there. So more questions. The only thing I really get on top of that is just people understand the difference between how to really create generational wealth, how to create wealth, versus, hey, how do I use this money to pay a bill or something? And I got to make this kind of crystal clear. And Crystal is, I shouldn't say that because that's my wife's name. She's probably in the next room right now. And saying that, but this is to create long-term wealth for yourself, generational wealth where you pass on to your grandkids next. You can't use this money to pay bills, to go out to eat, to buy a fancy car. People do it, that's fine, but what we're talking about is something you put away and let it compound, let it build. It's great, it's very tangible, it's tried and true, it's been done for 100 years, and you look at all the large family offices, the large endowment funds, and this is how they really make money, and this is how people make money from generation to generation. So that's it for this week. Appreciate you tuning in to me on Facebook Live, and wishing you and your family safe and have a great week. Take care.